Hello everyone, welcome to our video 109 and welcome to the Speak the Truth in Love ministry with Miss Veronica Mirembe Benedictio. And I continue to really thank everyone who is part of this journey. You know, this is not a channel about a following, about a like, about a comment. But it is a channel for that one person. You know. So welcome to video 109. I want to give a title. Know who you are. Know who you are. Oba mu Luganda nchiwomutwe manya chicholi. You know? Manya chicholi. Know who you are. Know your worth. You know? I'm here this afternoon to share with someone. Just like I tell people, I share these things out of revelation from the Holy Spirit to in regard to what has been happening in my own life, you know. Because at times we are so disturbed, we are so wretched in life because we do not know who we are. Abantu abasinga you know. It is why I'm giving my message a title, Know Who You Are. Manya chicholi. Omuntu buli w'otamanya chicholi ofuukira abalala obuzibu. Whenever you do not know who you are, you become a problem to people. You know, and the reason I'm here to share this video with someone, know who you are, know your worth. Manya omuwendo go. You know, because so many people are disturbed because they do not know their worth. They do not know who they are. You know, first of all, we live in a world where so many people are so wounded, are so frustrated, are so hurt, are so disappointed because they are looking for worth in human beings. Omuwendo go oba chicholi oyagala kijja mu bantu. We are seeking validation from the wrong places, and the reason why we are so wounded, the reason why we are so disappointed, the reason why we are so hurt, because we are seeking validation and worth from the wrong places, which is so wrong. You know, abantu abasinga tetumanyi chiche tuli, we look for happiness, essanyu tulinoonyeza mu bantu, abantu betulowooza be balina okutufuula chiche tuli. We have allowed society give us worth. We have allowed our families give us worth. We have allowed the church give us worth. We have allowed our workmates give us worth. And that is why people are so wounded, because they do not know who they are. Abantu abasinga tetumanyi chiche tuli. You know? And we think we want to draw worth from people who also have their problems, who also have their insecurities, who also have their stress, who also have their chaos, and we think we want to get worth from people. You know? Chovola bangamba abantu ku channel eno nze seetaaga following because my worth does not come from a following. You know, my worth does not come from people watching these videos. Chovolaba nabano beninako 16 ndiku video 109. I do not do things because of a following, because I do not need worth from anyone. You know, because I have gotten to know who I am. Manyi chichendi, ensitempa chichendi, kubanga nchimanyi. You know, and the reason I'm here telling someone, know who you are. Manya chicholi. Buli womala chicholi. Abantu bagenda kumala mu manyi. Abantu bagenda kumala mu subi. Be negative energy. Tebikubeera ko buzibu. Because you know who you are. You know, whenever you know who you are, disappointments, frustration, men, women, broken relationships will not put you down because you know your worth. Omanyi chicholi. And the reason I'm here to share with someone, know who you are. Omuntu buli womanya chicholi tewali chikukuba wansi munsi, because you know who you are. You know, at times we are looking for happiness, we are looking for peace in people. Ononye sanyu mu baana b'abantu nenga nabo tebalina. Ononye abaana b'abantu okuwaana nenga naye tewali abawaana. And that's why we live in a world that people we see are very rich, are very famous, baselebu tebalina essanyu na mirembe kubanga essanyu lyabwe balijja mu bantu. They draw their worth from people. Chobola following wegenda nagenda mu depression n'owulira nti betta n'owulira kubanga akkiriza ensi okumuwa omuwendo, akkiriza ensi okumuwa essanyu kwatamanyi kikyali. You know, and the reason I'm here to tell someone, know your worth, manya chicholi, know who you are. Whenever you do not know who you are, people's words, people's opinions, people's problems, people's chaos will put you down because you do not know who you are. Buli w'otomanya kikyoli ky'ova olaba oggwamu amaanyi n'essuubi olw'ebigambo by'abantu, olw'abantu comments ze bakola, olw'opinions z'abantu, tomanyi kikyoli. Omuntu amanyi kikyali takkiriza nsi muti kuba amanyi kikyali. You know who you are. You know, it is why I speak, at times I counsel people, ng'oli aweddemu amaanyi, omanyi abantu banjogerako, because you do not know your worth. Tomanyi kikyoli, kati okkiriza ebigambo by'abantu okumalamu amaanyi n'essuubi, kuba tomanyi kikyoli. You know, when you know your worth, when you know who you are secure in who you are. Omuntu amanyi kikyali aba yekkiririzaamu. Excuse me. Omuntu amanyi kikyali. Aba like you know who you are, wekkiririzaamu. It is why I am here to share about insecurities. Abantu fenna we have our insecurities. Kati oluusi buli w'otamanya kikyoli ky'ova olaba those insecurities get louder because you do not know who you are. Ky'ova olaba ojja kutunulira omukyala akusinga okulabika obulungi, akusinga ssente, ofune omutima omubi kuba tomanyi kikyoli. We live in a world where people are so wounded atamanyi kikyali. Omwami wajja kwogera n'omukyala omulala oveeko wayaba atomanyi kikyoli. And there are things we have to know. If you know who you are, there is a true peace in your life that is not drawn from the world that you will enjoy. Kubanga omanyi kikyoli. You know who you are. You know, buli w'otamanya kikyoli ofuukira abantu obuzibu. No, let me share with people. Whenever you are insecure, you become a problem to people. You become a problem to people who are fighting to know their worth, who are fighting to know their identity, who are fighting to love themselves. Kubanga gwe tomanyi kikyoli. You know, most people battle. There are things I can share out of experience. We have to know being beautiful is not just something that comes with nothing. It comes along with a lot of things. It comes with a lot of packages. You know, it comes with attention, but it also comes with its its bad side, its problems, you know, that you have to be ready to handle. You know, when you are a beautiful woman, you will attract jealousy women. Women will be jealous about you without reason. You will attract people who silently compete and compare themselves to you. Eyes that stare at you with eyes that glare at you with jealousy out of nothing. Negative energy, negative support. Ng'oli awo ine mikwano gy'olimu naye nga gyonna gikuwa bi negative energy. Fake support. And what brings this? It is because you are beautiful. Ng'obulungi Katonda bwe yakeera okuteekako bwe bikuleetera ebyo. And even n'abasajja n'ababeera bakugolokokerako, they want to humble you down. Ky'ova olaba ngamba abaana abawala buli w'oteemanya bajja kupangira ebisajja okwebakako because you are desperate. Kuba tomanyi kikyoli kati olowooza akukwana n'osanyukibwa tomanyi kikyoli. Those are things I tell people. Know who you are. Know your worth. You know? At times, because we do not know who we are. No, let me ask someone. A person who is secure, who knows who they are, I don't think they can be jealous about anyone. Kuba musinga. Kubanga amanyi kikyali. Omuntu amanyi kikyali talaba muntu amusinga kintu n'avaako waya n'aluzinga emirembe kubanga they know who they are. You know, a person who knows who they are not jealousy, they do not work in competition, in comparisons, because they know who they are. You know, it's because we do not know who we are, and that's why we battle jealousy, we battle a fitina, obutekwa tomanyi chicholi. You know, buli wotamanya chicholi ofukira abantu obuzibu because obera obuzibu kwago wetu buli kimoya ga kibere kugwe, and that is the world because you do not know who you are. No, let me speak to someone. Let me speak to myself. Whenever you are not comfortable in your skin, you are not secure in your skin, I'm telling you, you are going to battle insecurities. You are going to become a jealous person because tomanyi chicholi. You know? Abasajja bajja kulwana okuteeka wansi oli mukyalo oli myaka 38 because balaba you do not compete for their attention. Bamanyi buli mukyala alaga bere alaga bisambi naye they are seeing you as a respectful woman. Nekyo kiba kibatawaanya. Watch tomulaga bere kabina na bisambi kubanga omanyi kicholi. You know who you are. Your worth does not come from seeing your breasts, from seeing your kabina, because omanyi chicholi byembulira abana abawala. Omuntu amanyi chichali, they do not expose their body because you are seeking for attention. Ebisajja bijja bikwakireko because you are seeking for attention. Omuntu amanyi chichali, they wear modestly. Because they are not fighting for attention from men who are going to just come and play with your body. Kwa tomanyi chicholi. Kati nolowooza okulaga ebisambi, okulaga akabina, okulaga ebbere, chovola abajja bakwakirako nga bakossa nga badduka nga bakuzannyirako. Omanyi nina rejection naye nga tomanyi chicholi. You do not know who you are. You do not know your worth. And you are trying to get worth through showing your thighs, through showing your breasts, through showing, and that is so wrong. You know? These are the things I speak to young ladies. Know your worth. You know? Omwami aina magezi. Omwami ali responsible w'ekitiibwa. Sirowooza nti asobola okubukira ku mukazi amulage ebbere ajja kwakirako ng'adduka kwakyomulaga nga bagamba atunda ayolesa. No, our male friends tell us, nze Veronica so akutwala mukyala alaga bbeere alaga kisambi neera akwakirako ng'adduka ng'otandika nga olina rejection. But because you do not know who you do not know your value, you don't know who you are. And you think you are going to get it through dressing indecently and getting attention, and you hardly know that attention is only leading to your downfall, to your tears, to your rejection, because you want to prove worth to people through showing your body. You know? Most of us are looking for identity in people. Chenayogerako mu video yange inti marriage does not give identity. We are looking for identity from people who also have their insecurities. You are looking for identity in a man. Bampite mukyala gundi ndike mpeta kungalo nina abaana no, that is not your identity. Stop seeking identity from the wrong places. Know who you are. Goliani gwengo omuntu. Whenever you know who you are not going to run in relationships out of desperation. Warakuba musajja nkwanye nchamukete wali ankwana because omanyi chicholi choyagala okimanyi. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you know where and you know who's to belong. You know? So being alone because tewali akugambako tekibeerawo kumala because omanyi chicholi chovola babasajja batege emitego and we fall into traps because of excitement. Lwakuba nina nkwanyeko naye nga tomanyi chicholi. You do not know your worth, and that is why men take advantage of us. No, let me speak to girls. Be very careful. Sitani atupangira abasajja naye wobeera n'omwoyo mutukuvu abakulaga. kyenva ngamba abaana abawala noonya Katonda mu biseera bye ebya singo kuba ne sitaani alwana kuswaza ajja kupangira essajja lijja likuzanyireko enseeseke. And that's why you have to be very sensitive, very discerning to know what is from God and what is not from God. You know, it is all from knowing your worth. Omuntu buli w'omanya kikyoli, whenever you believe in yourself, whenever you believe in your value, you do not want to attract attention that is uncalled for because you know who you are. You know? Most of us are so wounded because we are getting our worth from relationships, see, from your boyfriend, from your girlfriend, from your job, from your children, from your marriage, and you hardly know, you have not known your identity. Excuse me. Chovola abajja kugoba ku mulimu ogwo. Ense yezikire kubanga you have made your job your identity. Omwami oyo wamufuula identity yo nze mukyala gundi because tomanyi gwe naye gwe nga gundi gwani, who are you? But it's because most people do not know their worth, and that's why you see we become a problem. No, let me speak to people out there. Abakyala ensi oba abaami, it applies to both sexes. Abantu betulaba nti buli kimu bakiina, betulaba buli kimu olaba akiina. In most cases they are so insecure, tebakkiririzaamu tebakulimbanga. Osobola okutunulira omukyala omulungi nga buli kimu olaba yatereera naye nga teyekkiririzaamu. Naye nga gwe alina ky'olina nga ba omanyi ki ky'oli. No, let me speak to people and share this truth. Most people we think have it all. Tebekkiririzaamu, they are very insecure. Tebamanyi ki kye bali kubanga bo bamanyi buli kimu be balina okubeera nakyo. Kati buli watunuulira amusinga aba agamba ono wakyansinga, and it brings all the insecurities in their lives. You know? No, there are things I have asked myself. You find a very handsome man, he seems to have it all. He's handsome, what they call he lacks self-esteem. Why? Because he doesn't know who he is. You find a lady who seems to have it all, but she's so insecure. Why? Because she doesn't know who she is. And so I'm telling someone, know who you are. Manya chicholi. You know, omuntu amanyi chichali toli agenda kuteeka wansi kuba omanyi chicholi. You know your worth. You know who you are. Omanyi chicholi. Buli w'otamanya chicholi ofuukira abantu obuzibu. Obeera n'ennugu, obeera n'okwekomparinga, oba weegeraageranya n'abantu kuba tomanyi chicholi, tewekkiriririzaamu. Omuntu ataki afuukira abantu obuzibu. And people do not know that because you do not know who you are. Omuntu atakirizaamu abeera mu comparisons buli ssaawa. Oli wakyalina kino, nze waki siina kino. And it brings me to something I want to share. We live in a world where people are proving a point to the world at the expense of their inner peace. And what brings this comparisons vawa nga tomanyi chicholi. Abantu abasinga, people are living in a lot of frustration, in stress, because they do not live within their means. Omuntu, you are doing things to prove a point to people. Nenga toyina sente. Olyawo weeragira ku bantu nenga toyina sente. Nosanga omuntu ajja kutwala omwana mu ssomero lwakuba ayagala amanye alange basome nenga ne sente talina sente za school fees za ssomero eryo naye nga asobola omutwala mu sente z'asobola naye agamba bawulira batya omwana nga asomera wano. And that is the world. Oli naavuga emmotoka, they want to prove a point to the world. Naye nga byayitamu tobitegeera, naye nga yeeragira ku nsi nga wayina emmotoka, naye nga kyayitamu tokitegeera. Stress gwayitamu, asiba akyusa engoye buli ssaawa, you are proving a point to the world, naye nga stress amabanja gaalimu, yeeragira ku nsi naye nga stress gwalimu. Kati yeeyo ensi. Nosanga abaana abawala akyusa engoye akyusa enviiri naye nga amabanja gaali mu stress gwali muto omutegeera we bazannyira ku mubiri gwe lwakuba ayagala obusente we bakosa omubiri gwe wakulakula abasajja naye nga kisente. You are proving a point to the world at the expense of your inner peace. These are things I tell people. Omanyi nange envuga emmotoka bwe nti kankubuulire mulimu ebintu nga gwakafiiramu, and that is the world. But what brings it? You do not know who you are. Waliwo ekintu kye ŋŋamba abantu kye neegamba omuntu amanyi kikyali togenda kunteeka kwa kyendi nkimanyi. I know who I am. Manyi kikyendi. I know whom I know my worth. Tewali musajja agenda kunzannyirako lwakuba ndaga ssente kubanga I know who I am. Ssente nina omutwe nsobola ozikola. No one is going to take advantage of me. Mbulwakuba nagendako ebutabika ensi empita omulalu bawe ekyo tekinzigyako waafi yange. My worth, I know who I am. You know, chovola ngamba abasajja obutankwana nakuba ndi mutabikako sigenda toli wange sina kyenkwagalako. I know who I am, but you won't make me feel bad. You won't make me feel low kubanga bantekako ekipande and I compromise kubanga ndi mulalu tewali agenda kunjagala. I know my worth, I know who I am, and you won't take it because I know who I am. You know, it is what I'm telling people. Know your worth. Manya chicholi, know who you are. You know, if you know who you are, people's words and opinions, they do not put you down. They do not derail you. It is what I tell people. Stop taking things personally. Olyawo buli kimu n'okitwala personal naye nga tomanya abantu balina ebizibu. Abantu balina negative energy and you are taking things personally. Because you have not known certain truth. Ensi neekubeerako n'ebiboozi naye nga ye byayitamu biyitirivu. And you hardly know. At times people only treat us because of what they are going through. Abantu balina ebizibu bingi kati n'ofuuka saddaaka ya stress waabwe naye nga kyekwa tomanyi kikyoli. You hardly know. People take things, they are not treating you because of anything personal, but what they are going through, their problems, their chaos. People are very uncomfortable around you because you expose their darkness. Your light exposes their darkness. Kati no fuko buzibu, no loza nze buzibu, but because you do not know who you are. You know? That's what I'm telling someone. Know who you are. My worth is not in a following. My worth is not in because of tewali alabe video. That is not my worth. My worth is in my purpose. My worth is in my identity. It is in my creator. It comes from within. You know? And if it comes from within, I do not need to get it from a man, from a relationship, from children, from marriage, because the manyichi chendi. As other things I tell ladies, abami bati abachala abamanyi chiche bali. Because we women, we are wired to depend emotionally on a man. Omusajja okuwanawana, omusajja okukola ki. Kati omusajja walaba omukyala ng'ebyo tabiriiko aba akutya kubanga ekikufuula omukyala kubeera emotionally attached to musajja. But when you know who you are complete, you are whole. I'm telling you. You attract the right person because you know who you are. You know? You know who you are. You know your worth. Kawata genda kuita itamu rakuba you are desperate. No, let me speak to desperation is a demon. Whenever you get desperate, ogenda kugwa mu butego. Buli wofuka desperate, people are going to use your body. Byengamba abaana nosanga omwana ow'emakerere yebaka n'akasajja ka boda kuba atamanyi kikyali. Alowooza munaye bamukolera favor. Tomanyi kikyoli. Tewali agambako nti you're beautiful. Bakulaba kuvuma kiyindo. Kati oli wajjana banange you're beautiful. N'okyamuukirira ba tokiwulirangako. You do not know your worth. ate ng'abaana abalenzi bakozesa ekintu ekyo okwonoona obulamu bw'abaana abawala tokiwulirako nti olina mulungi kati wajja nakikosa n'akucamula ng'akozesa ng'afuusa tomanyi kikyoli olowooza omusajja ono kwana kyekikufuula kikyoli kyova olaba batuzanyirako ffe abaana abawala batuzanyirako ffe abakyala kwa you do not know your worth. You have allowed desperation. You know, it's why I tell single girls, desperation is a demon. Whenever you are desperate, I'm telling you, whenever you are desperate, buli weweemalamu amaanyi n'essuubi ng'olowooza waddiba kankubulira ogenda kugwa mu butego kubanga olowooza buli akwana akuyamba buli akwebakako akuyamba kati bw'anaagenda ngenda kuggyawo omulala There are things I tell people. Chovola wabusa oduka wa X. Panange X tankubira. Mama, you do not know who you are. Oloza X. Omanyi ndia otewali ankwanako kanzire wa X. X nabera onakosa nakuzanyirako. Ogenda okulanga akufunisiza lubuto ng'ensetaani kakuseka. Naye lwaki tewamanya kikyoli. Oloza X oye yagenda. Yakuwa worth. You know, there are things I'm telling young people. Know who you are. Know who you are. Manya omuwendo go. Buli womanya chicholi. Buli womanya chicholi. Ne choyagala ochimanyi. You know what you want. You know what you stand for. And you know who you are. You know? Like Veronica. My name is Veronica Mirembe Namata Nabikolo Mukisa. I know who I am. A man's name does not give me identity. Ndi muchala gundi nedda. Nze Mirembe, nze Mukisa. Whether with a man or not, I am whole, I am complete. Whether with children or not, I am whole, I am complete. Tewali wekyawandikibwa nti wenva kunsinga sizadde mwana nti ngenda mugeyena. Tewali wekyawandikibwa. Mbomanyi wotalizaala tolizuukira kandekeyo okuzuukira naye nga kyengenda mmanyiyo. No, at times we have allowed the world give us worth. Omukyala omulungi ng'oyo taliiko omusajja tolyamu ekitiibwa seetaaga kitiibwa kyo basiggwa kimpa seetaaga kitiibwa kyo. I know who I am. Gwe omusajja omukulu alina abaana alina nga tosobola balabirira kitiibwa kikyenkuwa naye nga nzogezaako okundaga nga wendiruuza. There are things I tell. Know who you are. Tokkiriza abantu kumalamu maanyi kuweebula kitiibwa kyo because you know who you are. Your worth does not come from marriage, from children. That is not your worth. Kuba n'oyo akulaga nti oliruuza abayina naye talina kyaliko. Identity alinyonyeza musajja anyonyeza mu baana ali awo omwana tebalina fees ye maama ye taata stress gwayitamu naye n'agezaako kulaga nga wooliruuza. It is because you do not know your worth and you have allowed society to give you worth. Lwakuba ina emyaka 38 tonnafumbirwa oliruuza tewali akussaamu kitiibwa waddibira ewammwe. Nze mbagamba kandibire ku lujja naye nga nnina emirembe, kandibire kujja naye nga sizanyira ku baami b'abantu balala, kandibire ku lujja naye nga nnina nga naawe azanyira ku basajja b'abantu gwe bazaalazaalamu gwe bakwana mirembe gy'onoonya. Kati buli omu anoonya emirembe gye. And because I know who I am, you won't put me down. I know who I am. I know my identity. You know? No human being gives me worth on this earth. I know who I am. You know? I know what God says I am. So if I know who I am, you won't put me down with every derogatory statement, with every derogatory opinion. I tell people, your opinion is your opinion. I respect it, but it is none of my business. So, jigana, kubanga opinion yone, taina chenkwatako, kubanga chendi nchimanyi. I know who I am. Togenda kunteeka wansi nti oweebula kitiibwa kyange sinnazaala sina baana nadibira ku lujja kandibireko. Gwe abalina onsinza ki? Onsinza stress, onsinza bizibu, onsinza kubonaabona. Nga we mbagamba buli omu mirembe gy'anoonya. Gwoba ogisanga mu kwebakako genda bakwebakeko nze mba ngisanga mu kwekuuma ndeka neekuume naye tonfuula kizibu nga gwe by'oyitamu tobigamba nsi. Know who you are. Manya chicholi. Do not make me feel like a loser and you are in a marriage but you are so empty. Gwe mama, gwe tata, and that is the world today. We are in a generation where abantu ba mama ba tata nenga bali awo bakulaga you have a problem as if ye byalimu bimuweesa ekitiibwa. But it all comes from knowing who you are. Manya chicholi. When you know who you are, no one puts you down or keeps you low. And the reason I'm encouraging, know who you are. Manya chicholi. Omuntu amanyi chichali. Tagendera ku bigambo na opinions z'abantu because you know your worth. You know who you are. You know? Thank you very much for listening to me. And have a beautiful day. God bless you.